Current high school seniors who have signed up to serve in the military and continue the proud tradition of military service in the Osage community. Would those seniors please stand to be recognized? Now it is my honor to introduce today's keynote speaker, Colonel Dennis C. Torres. Torres has strong roots right here in Osage, Iowa, and we're proud to welcome him back home today. He graduated from Drake University in Des Moines with a degree of business administration before joining the United States Air Force, where he became a pilot and served our country with dedication and courage. During his time in the Air Force, Colonel Torres flew more than 130 combat missions, including 100 over North Vietnam, and has logged over 2,800 hours in the air flying fighter jets. He served and led missions around the world, from Thailand and Iceland to Germany. In 2 tours of the Pentagon, Washington, D.C., he helped strengthen partnerships between the United States and other nations. For his bravery and leadership, Colonel Torres has earned many of the nation's highest military honors, including multiple distinguished flying crosses, the Legion of Merit, and several air medals. These honors recognize exceptional courage and dedication in service to our country. Colonel Torres was married to late Jane Ann Fulmer, Newton, Iowa. They have 2 daughters, Audrey and Angela, and a son, Dennis. Please join me in giving a warm Osage welcome to one of our own, a true leader and hero, Colonel Dennis C. Torres.
While in the military service. In my instance, I lost 3 of my uncles. We were in California at the time, and my mother and I returned to Osage to live with my grandparents. My grandfather was a janitor at the courthouse. I spent my early years through 8th grade here in Osage, in this school system. At the end of the war, my father was hospitalized, started a new life, had meager resources, and decided to move to Des Moines. And my brother and I were left with our grandparents here in Osage. Eventually, after 8th grade, my parents made a decision to have us move in with them in Des Moines for the rest of our education. I went from a class size of 25 to one around 300. 2 schools were available at that time. I opted to attend a technical high school, which turned out to be a good decision. One would attend an occupational class in the afternoon after completing the academic courses in the morning. There were several occupations that were available. I chose radio and television and ended up working as a TV floor person and cameraman for WHO in Des Moines. My family decided to move to California after I graduated, so I was the only one left in Iowa. I stayed in Des Moines to attend Drake University. My job helped me with some of my college expenses. While at Drake, I became interested in ROTC, the Reserve Officers Training Corps. especially since they gave me a check at the end of the month. One of my uncles, Felix Diaz, was killed in World War II as a tail gunner on a B-24. I know that influenced me in my pursuit of the military. He was a championship state wrestler for Osage and only lost 2 matches in his entire career. Since I qualified for flight training, the Air Force paid me to take private pilot lessons. I graduated as a second lieutenant and as a distinguished graduate from Drake. During my flight training, the United States Air Force became involved in Vietnam. I could see the handwriting on the wall. After F4 qualification and survival school, I was assigned to PACAF, Yuban Air Base in Thailand, in the renowned 8th TAC Fighter Wing. Our boss was General Robin Oves, who was a triple ace from World War II in Vietnam. Our job was primarily North Strike, that being North Vietnam. Overall, I flew 133 missions. After 100 missions in Illinois, it was determined that you would fly your other missions in the southern part of North Vietnam to avoid exposing you to any more dangers. These were all packages where there were surface-to-air missiles and anti-aircraft fire that we had to contend with in what we called Route Pack 6. This package was a package right around Hanoi, and as you might guess, involved many defenses. To give you an example of a strike, we would have a pre-strike briefing at 8 o'clock in the morning, or at 6 o'clock in the morning. It included the weather, target threats, and tanker hookup. Off we went, 8 to 12 F-4s. On the way, we were joined by F-105s, possibly out of Korat or Takli, Thailand, depending on what the strike was. We would meet our tankers far from Hanoi in the safety zone. When we met our tankers, we topped off our fuel and then proceeded inbound to Hanoi. Surface-to-air missiles and anti-aircraft fire were our biggest threats. Due to politics, we were prohibited from striking the air bases of the North Vietnamese. We could see those air bases, and we could see the big aircraft flying around them. They would not contact us directly, but they would make a high-speed pass when they found the opportunity to dive in fast, shoot at us, and then escape. Our losses were primarily from anti-aircraft and surface-to-air missiles. Sometimes it's not your day. I lost squadron mates and had to call some parents on return. Upon return, I was assigned to the Air Defense Command in a Delta Wing F-106. My plans were to check out and be assigned to Duluth, Minnesota, where my in-laws had a cabin a couple hours away from there. Not so fast. You're in the military. To make a long story short, I received a call from a different unit welcoming me to Malmstrom Air Force Base. So my intent from Duluth, Minnesota went to Malmstrom Air Force Base. 6 months later, I found myself flying over the Pacific with my squadron going to Osage, Korea. This is in response to the North Koreans capturing one of our ships. Relations were tense. I returned to the States 7 months later and remained with the squadron. While there, an opportunity arose. The Air Training Command and the Air Defense Command made an agreement to exchange pilots for career development. The offer was a captain's command job at a field training detachment. I talked to several senior officers about this, and they said it was a kiss of death. My operations officer had the best advice. If you don't try, you will never know. I threw my hat in the ring, and with the support of my squadron commander, I was selected and went from a combat command to a training command. One caveat of the agreement was that the position would be for a pilot, and it had always been a non-rated position. As such, I would keep flying as an air training command asset, flying an Air Defense Command airplane. This is unheard of. It wasn't easy for me, for I had to meet with the center commander, a brigadier general, who owned the airplanes. I showed him the agreement between 2 4-star generals. He grunted. A year later, I was awarded the ATC Field Training Detachment Commander of the Year trophy, and my unit was runner-up in the command. We trained maintenance personnel from California to Long Island in the F-102, the F-106, and the T-33. Knowing that job opportunities and promotions were limited by one's career experience, I looked for another remote assignment. Vietnam was one remote assignment. Korea was a 7-month assignment, which they didn't count as a remote. But I was looking for another 12-month tour because it's difficult to get another job which you desired unless you had 2 under your belt. Again, I left my family. I requalified in the F-4 and was off to Iceland to intercept Russian bombers and what we called the Greenland-Iceland United Kingdom gap. The Soviets would come between Greenland and Iceland and the United Kingdom make the flight around the Cape and come down and drop sonar buoys to intercept or find out where our submarines were. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to find my other page I had here. Anyway, going on, I went to Iceland, and my tour was excellent. It was a remote tour, as I mentioned, and my boss, Colonel Leon Babcock, the late Colonel Babcock, he retired and passed away as a Major General, wanted for me to stay another 2 years This was on top of the 1 year I'd already spent there. I agreed, and this time he flew my family to Iceland, and those were some of the best years that we had. There aren't very many places that you could go in Iceland, and it was very expensive to leave the island commercially. So we grew as a family. Opportunities that we hadn't had before because I was remote and they were left behind. After that assignment, I was assigned to the Air Defense Command headquarters in Colorado Springs, Colorado, as an F-4 flight examiner and staff officer for the inspection team. While there, I received a call from Germany one night. It was from one of my former commanders, who was now a general officer and wing commander in Simbach, Germany. He had just received a promotion list and called to congratulate me on being promoted early to lieutenant colonel and wanted me to be one of his squadron commanders. It involved flying a close air support aircraft, an OB-10, and going to Germany. I told him that I was in consideration for a squadron commander's job back in Iceland. And the job was a commander of the F-4 squadron in Iceland. His reply was, "A bird in hand is worth two in a bush." I went to Germany. A year later, my squadron was named the United States Air Forces in Europe Tactical Air Support Squadron of the Year. Upon my completion, I was selected to attend the Air Force Air War College in residence. Prior to that, I'd taken 3 academic courses in the Air Force. And while there, I was once again promoted early to colonel. After War College, I think my voice is giving out. After War College, I was assigned to the Pentagon Studies and Analysis. It was totally foreign to me. I had to supervise 14 of the most intelligent group of officers I have ever known. The majority had PhDs. Our job was to develop outer space defenses. It was under the umbrella of, some of you may remember, Star Wars. I was overwhelmed on numerous occasions by these young people. My job really was to provide cover for them as we went to brief senior officers in the Pentagon. After a year there, I was selected to be vice commander of the 601st Tactical Air Support Wing in Simbach, Germany. After a year in that position, I was promoted to commander of the 601st. We had 3 squadrons and radar units throughout Germany, a total of about 2,800 personnel. After that tour, I was sent back to the Pentagon and worked in senior officer positions for 3 years. I retired in late 1992. Now, as students, what can we take from this? Basically, you can set your goals as to what you want to do and what you have to do to accomplish them. I know as students, your primary desire is to graduate. Mine was too at that point in time. However, the world is awaiting you. Your opportunities are galore. You could continue your education, work in many disciplines from accounting to zoology. If that isn't your desire, there are many challenging trades where you can make a good living, raise a family, and serve your country. You have to apply yourself and do the best job possible. Be a good citizen, participate in your school, and community is a good start. I know that you can do it. I request that you honor this day by the appreciation of the sacrifices that your mother, father, grandpa, and grandma, and many others that have served their country, and honor them. There are many ways to serve other than in the services. Participation in your school and community is rewarding. In closing, I wish you all well in your life experience. It's been my pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. And now, I'd like to introduce Tiare Chanel. She is the Education Co-Chair of the Osage American Legion Auxiliary. She will be reading the poem 1966 for us today.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be in the company of veterans. We'll take you back to 1966. They say he's your uncle and not your dad. He separates families and leaves everyone sad. He puts you through boot camp and trains you to kill, and then decides he must teach you some skill. Meanwhile, many others like you are fighting a war that you'll soon be in too. They say it's your duty to go to war, to fight for freedom, and so much more. It's still hard to understand that one day you're with me and the next you're in some strange land. I have just one more thing to say, and that's to ask your uncle not to keep you away. Dear veterans, thank you for being there when we needed you. Thank you for coming home.
Thank you, Ms. Chanel. Now we would like to honor all the men and women who serve our country in the armed forces, as well as the families that support them. As we perform marches of the armed forces, when we play the theme song for each branch of the service, if you or someone in your family has served in that branch of the military, we would like you to stand and be honored. We will perform the theme songs to the Marines, Army, Coast Guard, Air Force, and Navy. At this time, the combined middle and high school bands, under the direction of Mr. Kirkpatrick, will play the Armed Forces Salute.
Color guard, stand!
United States Marines. begins. Please stand for the national anthem.
Please remain standing as the colors are retired.
Order, right over, arms! Right, please! Forward, march! On left, march! All right, march!
Please be seated. So thank you for your attendance today. A reminder to our veterans and families, we will have refreshments out in our high school cafeteria as we depart today. The third and the fourth grade will be the first ones that depart from a student perspective. So for our rest of our middle school and high school, please wait until third and fourth grade depart, and then we'll head back to our classes. Again, thank you for attending today, and the band will take us out.